Old Bill Cosby thing. Oh, man. Fucking Dr. Cosby. First, Penn State they tried to make it acceptable to diddle little kids. They tried hard, damn it, but they didn't get it done. But Dr. Cosby, now he's made it acceptable to drug and rape women. It's awesome, I guess. Not really. Sounds good to me. But my real question is, how, listening to his deposition from, what was it, 2010, I believe it was, how can you read that shit and hear his own words and not just be completely devastated that this fucking kick-ass American father, TV dad, turned out to be such a piece of shit? And how can you listen to what he's saying about why he gave them pills? Not only that he did, but why? To loosen them up, get them to relax. And then once he felt they were relaxed, he'd make his move. Just got to take a deep breath here, man. Because now, all reports, the jury was going crazy in that room. And if I were in there, I would have been going fucking ape shit too. I'd have been just so damn pissed. Is evidently you had a shitload of fucking people in that room who either, if they're male, they don't give a damn about their wives or their daughters being drugged and raped. Or if they're females, they don't give a shit if someone drugs and rapes them. That's the only conclusion I can come to. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But there have been reports that, jurors crying in there, pacing, just in circles. One juror had said that they had to be moved to a different room because it had been discovered that outside camera crews could see in the windows. So they had to be moved to a smaller room, and he said, you couldn't even pace around the table. Like in the larger room, people just had their own personal space and just walking in circles. One juror had gotten so upset he hit the wall, and I believe he broke his pinky, screaming at each other, yelling to the point where the bailiffs in the hall think there's a physical fight, so they're going in to make sure everything's okay. It's just unbelievable. And here this morning, well, it come out over the weekend, but this morning I'd seen a little bit more about it. But one of the jurors basically had said that due to what the victim, alleged victim, since there was no conviction, had worn to Dr. Cosby's house that night, that she deserved it because she wore a top showing midriff. Okay, so because she showed her tummy, I mean, of course she wanted to get fucked up, dude. I mean, I don't show my tummy unless I want someone to drug the shit out of me and play with my boobies and maybe give me a little pickle tickle, maybe slide some foreign object into my asshole or something, I want to come though, but of course I have no problem with that. That's absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand what those jurors were thinking, but at the same time, you can't get too wrapped up on that shit. You can't dwell on that shit too much. But a big thing is the whole he said, she said thing, which, for fuck's sake, in any situation, everyone can understand a he said, she said situation, right? But then again, taking just a quick sidestep from what I just said about the he said, she said, then again you go back to Dr. Cosby's fucking deposition shit and what he actually said. It's just crazy. But anyway, you've got a he said, she said thing. One, that's extremely hard no matter what the case is. But then you add on that it's been all these years later. When something traumatic happens, even when something traumatic doesn't happen, but especially when something traumatic happens, I don't at all doubt. I think Dr. Cosby's guilty as fuck. Let me say that. Now I can freely say what I want to say. The mind plays tricks on you after so long. in even in the moment. But I mean, after all this time, you know, you've had all these years and it's torn you apart and it's warped things about you. This has been something that has been a factor in every decision that you've ever made throughout your entire life after the moment that happened. That's powerful shit right there. That's powerful shit. And the mind, it can dwell on it. It can, you know, fester on it. It can, you know, it can shut itself down, then reopen itself. Anything is possible. All sorts of things. And I hate the statute of limitations on rape, but it's understandable to a point. So I've been trying to figure out how we could work this all around, because most states that do have statute is 30 years is the statute limitations on rape. So in cases where, say, it's 20 years later and there was, I'm not going to get into all that. Let me just make it clear cut like this. Okay. The only cases that should not have a statute, like if they're old cases, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure I say this correctly. The only cases that should not be allowed to be tried after so long and all that are ones that are purely based on he said, she said. Now, ones where there's an eyewitness, newly discovered pics or film, video, something like that, DNA, you know, those, yes. But if it's only, if the case comes down to he says it didn't happen and she says it does, then I'm sorry. That's what the statute is for, in a way. And I can completely understand that. Now, I don't know. I'm not even going to get into the statute of limitation on murder and how. I'm just going to say real quick about that. Like, of course there should not be a statute of limitation on murder. I don't think there should be one on rape either, if it can be proven or a case can be made that is beyond he said, she said. So, if there's a case that is old as shit, no matter what it is, and it can be proven or it can be a valid argument made for it, then try that shit, right? But it always killed me how, and no offense to the dead, but there's a statute of limitations on murder, and that person, that victim in that case, is dead. They are never going to feel the pain of life or that moment when they died anymore. And I know the argument back to me about that would be, well, that's the point. They're not alive. Okay, yes, I understand that. But the fact is, they're not alive. And they don't feel anymore. Rape victims, they're alive. That shit affects them every day, every decision they make, and it will for the rest of their life. Yeah. So, thank you, Dr. Cosby, for being a piece of shit, but the victim in this case, I can't remember her name, I apologize, but she's going to retry it, is what she's saying. Kudos to her on that. And Dr. Cosby, though, he's announced that he's going to be doing a series of town halls for free. So, hey, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to come and listen to you tell me how to get away with drugging and assaulting and raping women. Thank you, Dr. Cosby. Because that's what it is. He's going to be doing town halls on how to avoid being accused of sexual assault. That is almost like OJ's biography, or autobiography rather, that he wrote in small letters, if I did it. In big letters, this is how I did it. You know, whatever the title of that fucking book was, but that's basically how it was. It was in small letters, if I did it. And then in big letters, how I did it. It's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. But so hopefully he says some shit on that tour that will come back to kick the shit out of him, because there was no verdict, yes or no, guilty or innocent. So it can be, and it's looking like it's going to be retried. And so everything he says until then is on the table. Can and will be used against him in a court of law, and I hope he says some shit that just fucking sends his ass away till he fucking rots.